Welcome to Cinemonika. Cut the sound effects. Actually, it's super sunny today. I live in LA where it doesn't rain for more than 5 days a year, but let's pretend that I live in Forks for a minute. And it's cloudy and cozy and definitely not hot at all. So here's a list of movies that you should definitely check out the next time that it's super gloomy and raining and cozy. The first movie is, of course, a Studio Ghibli movie. Did you really think I wasn't gonna mention a Ghibli movie in this list? I believe every single Studio Ghibli movie is a cozy movie to watch on a rainy day. But the one that I'm gonna recommend today is Only Yesterday. I've mentioned this movie in lots of other videos, but if you still haven't watched it, this is your chance. This is your sign. Only Yesterday isn't one of the most well-known Ghibli movies. It wasn't directed by Hayao Miyazaki, it was directed by Isao Takahata, and I believe it deserves so much more recognition, which is why I try to mention it often. Only Yesterday is about this woman in her late 20s who travels from Tokyo to a rural town to visit her sister's family. While she's in this trip, she starts having flashbacks about her childhood, and the movie kind of takes place in both her flashbacks and the present time. She analyzes her memories and starts to wonder if what she's doing right now is essentially what she wanted as a child, how her childhood may have affected her and shaped her into the woman that she is now, and basically it's her taking a retrospective look into her life. I absolutely love this movie because not only is it extremely relatable, it's actually so heartwarming. It's one of the most realistic Studio Ghibli movies. Even though it does have, all of these dreamy flashbacks, it's still very rooted in reality. It doesn't have a lot of fantasy elements or anything like that, and basically it's just this woman analyzing her past. It's a super cozy movie. It's not really depressing or anything like that. It's honestly one of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies, and it seriously deserves more recognition. So if you still haven't watched it, I'm gonna keep mentioning it in many videos. The next movie is Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love. Look, if you're looking for a romance movie to watch, this is pretty romantic. In the Mood for Love is about this man and woman in Hong Kong in the 60s. They're living in the same building with their respective spouses, and one day they found out that their spouses are having an affair with each other. They try to find comfort in each other and eventually fall in love as well. This movie is extremely melancholic. It is the definition of yearning and longing. It is absolutely breathtaking and beautiful, and my god, the style of this movie, the art direction, just the color palette, so much red. It is gorgeous. The score and the soundtrack are amazing as well. It is honestly a masterpiece, one of the most romantic movies I have ever seen. The next movie is a really fun one. It's Almost Famous. This one used to be one of my favorites. This one used to be one of my absolute favorites when I was a teenager. It's about a kid who is really passionate about music and journalism, and he starts working for Rolling Stone, and somehow he starts touring with this huge band in order to write an article about them. While he's touring, he learns a lot about that road life, that rock star life, how it's not really that glamorous at all. It sounds kind of like a downer, but it absolutely is not. It's a super fun movie. The soundtrack is amazing, and it's one of those movies where there is no time to be bored at all. This movie has a way of just making you feel so warm. Honestly, I feel like the soundtrack has a lot to do with that, but also the story, and it's just a whole lot of fun. The next movie, my personal favorite, Pride and Prejudice. If you were to ask me, what is that one movie that you can replay or rewatch just to lift up your mood and make you feel warm and cozy, I would definitely say Pride and Prejudice. There's just something about this movie that I adore and I love. It's the perfect romance. What I love about this movie is, of course, Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth's romance, and the way that it grows, the way that they go from despising each other to loving each other. That trope will never get old, where a brief hand-holding moment is possibly the most intimate and beautiful moment in the film. It's so good. Keeping up with the romance theme, the next movie is About Time. About Time is a movie that I didn't watch until recently because it just never really caught my attention. I honestly blame the poster. It just looks kind of like a cheesy romance movie that I thought wouldn't be really anything special. But I was wrong. This movie was honestly great. It's about this guy who learns that he can actually travel through time. And he takes advantage of this in order to change some things around, you know. Of course, this doesn't always turn out perfectly, as we have seen in every single time travel movie. This one absolutely broke my heart. I believe my Letterboxd review for this one was just, I love crying. This movie is an absolute roller coaster of emotions. If you just want like a cozy, rainy, chill night, I would say don't watch this because you will probably cry. But if you are into that, you know, it's raining, let's watch a sad, romantic movie, then this is perfect. I mean, I wouldn't say it's absolutely sad, but it's kind of sad. You will feel both happy and sad, okay? It doesn't say anything about this movie. The next movie is 20th Century Women. It's just a look into this mother's life. She's in her 50s and she's trying to raise her teenage son. It's just like watching these characters existing and interacting and just living, which I absolutely loved. This movie made me feel like I was just hanging out with friends, kind of. It's just a very real and beautiful coming-of-age story that is also very different than other coming-of-age stories because there's so many characters. Every single character is like kind of involved in raising him. The next movie I'm going to talk about is an anime movie called Ride Your Wave. This one is directed by Masaki Yuasa, which is one of my favorite anime directors. Even though this movie is about grief and losing someone, it is absolutely uplifting and fun, not really sad at all. It's about this girl who tragically loses her boyfriend, but she then is able to see him in water. Every time she looks in water, she can see him, which, you know, results in her kind of relying on always having him present and things like that, which doesn't really allow her time to grieve, but you know, she tries to navigate all that in the movie. When I watched this movie, I wasn't expecting it to be so positive and so joyful, but it definitely was. It honestly felt like watching an old anime rom-com. It was super colorful, the music was great, I absolutely love the music, and you know, it's just a really sweet movie. So if you're in the mood to watch an anime movie, I definitely recommend Ride Your Wave. The next movie I'm gonna talk about is The Map of Tiny Perfect Things, which is a teenage rom-com. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. I thought, again, it was gonna be just like a cheesy rom-com, which at times it definitely was. It was a little bit all over the place in some points, but it was still very, very enjoyable. It's a movie where these teenagers are living the same day over and over and over and over. Of course, we've seen movies like this a lot, but this one was actually really fun. Throughout the movie, of course, the characters try to figure out why is it that they're living the same day over and over, what is it that they have to do in order to actually get out of the loop. I think this movie had a really good message. I don't want to spoil it, but I think that it was actually really meaningful and it dealt with some things really well. It was also really, really cute, so if you're looking for a new teen rom-com, then I definitely recommend The Map of Tiny Perfect Things. Alright, I'm excited for this next one because I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I've recommended a lot of, you know, romantic movies on this list, but if you're a person who wants, you know, a little bit of a thrilling rainy afternoon, then I recommend Memories of Murder. Memories of Murder is directed by Bong Joon-ho and it's his masterpiece before Parasite. It's about two detectives who try to uncover these murders, these brutal murders that have been happening. It is absolutely exhilarating and thrilling, but something that really surprised me when I watched it is that it's also funny. Which seems kind of weird to say because it's about, you know, uncovering these murders, but the way that Bong Joon-ho knows how to write dramatic movies while also having this comedic touch is amazing. He did it in Parasite and he did it in this movie as well. The entire movie had me so tense. Maybe don't watch this if there's like thunder outside because you might get startled, or maybe that just adds to the experience, honestly. This movie is not scary, it's not horror. If you like movies like Seven or Zodiac, then this is definitely a must-watch. The next one is a 2000s must-watch and it's 13 going on 30, aka a peak Comfort film. This movie is just the epitome of fun. It's so entertaining, such a cool concept. 13-year-old wakes up and is suddenly 30 years old. A fabulous 30-year-old who has her dream job, a dream closet, is absolutely gorgeous. Her life is now perfect, except she doesn't have her childhood best friend anymore. I absolutely love everything about this movie, from the plot, the outfits, the music. It's just so very 2000s. Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer Garner. I rewatched it yesterday, actually, because I was feeling nostalgic. It'll never get old. It's just such a fun movie to watch. It's a perfect movie for like a cozy girls' night. I just love it. And the last movie I'm gonna talk about, a movie full of fantasy and magic that will make you feel so warm and so cozy, and it's Spirited Away. You know I had to mention it. My favorite movie is Spirited Away, my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, and my favorite movie overall. This movie is perfect to watch on a quiet, rainy night because I feel like that will just add to the experience of going into this magic spirit world. The absolute wonderful score, the beautiful images, and the most just intriguing, mysterious place, which is the spirit world where Chihiro finds herself all of a sudden. I think the mood would be just perfect to watch it while it's, a cozy rainy night. If you're an emotional person like me, you might not be able to sleep though because of the crying. Or maybe it's just me. This movie makes me cry, but it's just because I feel so nostalgic whenever I watch it. I just feel so attached to it that it makes me cry. But this movie's not sad at all. Like I said, it's just so magical. I just love it so much. I just needed to include it in this list because it is absolutely perfect. I can just imagine that train scene when Chihiro is traveling and No Face is there. That quiet scene somehow feels sad, melancholic, but so sweet and calm and still. I feel like that paired with, the sound of the rain outside, perfection. Why doesn't it rain in LA? Anyways, those are the movies that I recommend on a cozy day. Please let me know, what movies do you think would be perfect to add to this list? What do you think of the movies that I mentioned as well? Leave it down below in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.